Because if we don't have God in your heart, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You have been granted one time to extension until 6 January. Okay. Wait, I can record. Yeah, okay. I think we can record now. Yes, so what you just shared now, it shows so how everything is so fragile. Yes, and how faith is important. Yes, like having faith and having also something big in life, your passion that is bigger than house, bigger than material things, bigger than something that you can see. Yes, like something is really that can, when you even lose everything, you can still have gratitude and you can still go on. Because if people just have all their hope in their house and think that this is my safe place, now I am like at home, yeah, and then when everything is just moved, yes, like taken away within, as you said, just few days, nothing is there on the so many huge territory. It is just really very, very, a very provoking thought, yeah, situation, I would say.
Indeed. So right now I'm sitting in our home in the Los Angeles area, and the news for the last few days has been about fires, large fires that have destroyed several cities in the Los Angeles area, beautiful coastal areas like Pacific Palisades. A dear friend of mine lost their home, but they're alive, and they say, well, it's time for a next chapter. People in the north of Pasadena, acres and acres, tens of thousands of acres are being destroyed. The Hollywood Hills lit up last night. And Denise and I've been married for 48 years and 53 Valentine's Days. And my wife and I had a fire at our home in 2004. And it reminded me how that feels when everything is
Mm.
gone. And there are two things. It's a little devastating. However, it's what the Latins would call a tabula rasa moment, meaning clean slate.
Mm.
It's almost a blessing. It's like a restart. It's like you get to start your life again and put out of your life those things that have been, let's say, taking your energy, that are just things, and literally focus on whatever you want to keep in your life moving forward, whether it's things or thoughts or intentions or people or purpose. And so, look, we're all here for a reason. The book I read every morning says the two most important things that we got to get right are love each other. We're here to share love and we're here to praise God. And it's why
Mm.
we're here is not, it's not up to us. We think it is, but it's like
Mm.
when we get an opportunity to reset, that can be one of the most powerful change moments in the world. And we had
Mm.
that in our home, which was remarkable. And in retrospect, after the fact, years later, I would say we are extremely grateful for that. It deepened our faith. I can remember sitting in a hotel room with my wife, Denise, laughing at the funny parts of it because you can't lose your sense of humor. Oh, well, goodness gracious. You're a mindset master, right? And so it's like, do not lose your sense of humor. It is so critical, not
Yeah.
that serious and always be deeply grateful for what we do have, particularly the love of others and the love inside of us. Love is the only thing, and I'm a branding guy, so this is not what you'd think of, you would hear coming from a branding guy, but you know, branding is just shaping the perception others have of us. And when we start locking on to wanting to make impacts on others' lives through the work or the expertise we do, like you and your work here on this podcast and in your firm, when you start focusing on purpose, there's much higher levels of impact that we all can make if when we focus on that. So evolving the way we create a perception of who we are and what we're capable of, evolving that brand so that we can be even more abundant in our businesses, in our work, and have a much better platform to step into why we're really here is a blessing. And that's the work I get to do these days. So hopefully, those listening to this episode will take a much higher level thought to what you and I are about to talk about, Elena. So it's great to be here, and I feel very blessed, particularly surrounded by people who are losing everything here in the fires. It's devastating.
Yes, it is devastating, and for many people, it is awakening call. You know, like such when this shock happens, it is really emotional impact. And when this emotional impact happens, this can be very big shift in people's lives and people paradigms. They can start reevaluating what they believed before. Yes, like somebody who thought that this is now their empire, this castle, as you said, or that house. And when it just within just, I don't know, hour or how fast it was all just got burned. So people can start awakening and understanding what is the real value in their life, what is something that cannot be taken from them. Yes.
One of your major mentors, Bob Proctor, used to say, "Thoughts are things." Remember The Secret? It's like, hey, thoughts are things, right? And and so it's not necessary. Life isn't about things people think it is. It's about what's between our ears, and how we choose to use these gifts that we're given to touch those whose lives we touch in in the most powerful way we can. So yeah, it is a wake up call. It's right. It's a it's a reassessment. Even those who wrote about the concentration camps and the people who died in Eastern Europe during World War II said that those who kept their mind focused on what they would do and what they see for what they can do when that's over stayed alive and had hope and had purpose. Those who gave up and thought there was nothing tended to not make it.
Mhm.
What's between our ears is very, very important. You call it mindset, and it can include faith and a connectedness to spirit. It can include a sense of what you see clearly your impacts can be when you're thriving, even though you're not thriving. If you can see it, you can do it. And you and I both kind of live in that zone in the work that we do. So I'm really glad to be here with you today. I really am.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Yes, and from what we just discussed, it came to my mind that even in the worst situations, and you also mentioned that concentration camps, yes, in Second World War, and Viktor Frankl wrote the book "Man Searching in
Viktor Frankl.
Meaning." Yeah,
Exactly.
so this is when everything was taken from him. He came with that idea that choosing thoughts and choosing what to think about was his ability, which nobody could take from him. Yes, that in the worst situation, whatever can happen, still we can choose our thoughts, we can choose the focus, what we think about, or we think about being victim and why everything has happened to me and why it is so bad. Now my life was all gone. Yes, even with that house, everything I built within 30 years, worked
Mm.
hard. Or we can shift the focus and choose our energy and that activity with our brain and thoughts to what is this situation telling me. Yes, like what can be good from this situation, what I can learn, what I can change in my life. And in so many cases, when people turn their mind to the positive side, because there is always the law of opposites, there is hot and cold, big and small, yes, left, right. So it is always the same is equivalent. So in every bad negative situation, whatever bad is, and of course it will something that will just come to the mind first, but there is always equivalent to good, of good to the same amount of bad. And
I
this
love
is
how you think. Elena, I see why you're so powerful in people's lives, because you get that in your soul. And It's so great that Bob Proctor was one of your major mentors. I can feel him coming through. I think you're channeling him. So if you're listening to this episode right now and you have never heard these, I'm going to say two things that my mentors used to say. And it's the same thing Elena just said in a slightly different way. No matter what happens to us in our lives, it is not what happens to us that defines who we are. It is how we respond to it that defines our character and where we go. So that's the first thing. It's not what happens to us. It's how we respond to what happened to us. And I paid dearly for a $5,000 1-week experience to learn. They put a little wristband on my wrist that was half dark and half white, and it's supposed to remind you that in any moment you can choose your higher self, being giving or loving, or your lower self, being greedy or being hateful, in any moment, like right now or right now. Like you can be in the midst of anger and switch it to peacefulness and love in any moment. That power is in you and in me. It's in all of us. And those two things, how we respond to what happens and our choice in any moment of our highest selves or our lowest selves, is immense.
Yes, exactly. We give the meaning to every situation.
Mm.
Situations happen which is outside of us. Yes, like as you said, the fire, or it can be other disasters. We cannot influence the situations, but what we can do, we can give the meaning of that situation. So we can give the meaning to the situation which we want and which will make us strong and which will make us powerful. And believe me that the worst situation can become the best in our life. Yes, when we look back and we see how far we grew from that situation, how far we changed, how far we transformed, then we see that this situation was a blessing because it woke me up. It helped me to see the world. It is all emotional impacts when they happen. They really shaken all the belief system. It's shaken all those paradigms, and you can at that time you can install new beliefs, new paradigms which will elevate you to new levels. And of course, in that situation, which all this disaster happen, when you are in, of course, it is, you think it is just the worst thing that could happen. Yeah, but if you really learn the lesson, if you see what is good, if you take steps toward that direction, if you think about what you can do in this situation, yes, because it is the same energy. Or you are going to spend energy crying and thinking that everything is lost and now your life is gone. Or the same energy you can use constructively and think, okay, this already happened. Yes, I accept this is the fact. Yeah, I cannot change it. But what I can do, what I want, where I want to be in 1 year, in 2 years, and 5 years, and how this situation can help me to be there. Yes, maybe I have to stop doing what I did, and now you realize that life is short. The same way as how is going, our life can go, and we never know how much we have in the future. Only what we have is this present moment. So this can also show you that value of each moment when you start living and enjoy really every moment, and do every moment, every second, something that makes your life fulfilled, makes your life really important. And when you can live with that fulfillment, joyful, happy, and impact other people's lives. This is what, yeah.
Your comment about how we choose to spend the energy we have, because we only get so much, right? And we can choose to. It could be whiny energy, or it can be powerful, uplifting energy. How we choose to spend that energy is wonderful. That's so brilliant on your part, and I mean that in two ways. Brilliant meaning very, very smart, but also brilliant, filled with light. And I would say the light has a capital L. Okay, so you're taught be able to do in love, in joy, what not only you're really good at and love doing, but what touches others' lives in a powerful way. I think you're describing what you do all day long. You are
Yes.
describing what I do all day long, because my work doesn't feel like work. The work of helping
Mhm.
people write the impacts they clearly see and defining in language the brand they must become, so that everything they say and does aligns with those impacts, and they get there faster and live in joy for longer, and 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 get to their higher level impacts because they've reshaped how people perceive them, and now they can get there. That's what I do all day long, and it's God's work. I think God put those desire for impacts in our hearts. So
Mhm.
it brought to mind, your comment brought to mind two different clients, both women, by the way. One experienced what could be to some people devastating sexual abuse as a child. And let's call it what it was. It was incest. So it was in her home. Okay. I met her as a ghostwriter. Can I help you or your client write books? Sure. So she was helping my client write a book, helping me write my first book. And she said, I have a book. Can I publish it on your publishing company? I'm like, well, Annie, what's your book about? She goes, it's a novel. She has this little soft voice. It's a novel. It's about a little girl. What's the name of the book? It's called The Ugliest Word. I'm like, what is that? And she goes, incest. So we launched that book on Impact Driven Publishing, and I learned a lot. So here's a woman, and it says right on the back of the book, she chose, in the way she used the energy, she chose to create a call-in telephone bank worldwide that anyone can call, tell their first name only so they don't identify themselves, and explain what happened to them when they were a child. These were adults who had survived but hadn't really healed.
Mm.
She created this telephone bank, and she ran that for a long time, years. Can you imagine hearing
Mhm.
all those stories? But yet she chose to allow people to put out there what they're holding behind their back, because that starts the healing process. So that's one. Annie Margis, what a powerful. She wrote a play. She wrote there'll be a movie. She wrote the screenplay. And the other one was a woman born in Africa who immigrated to the United States as a 4-year-old with her family, and a highly educated family and pretty powerful in Africa, but had to get out for political reasons. And her father said he wanted her to be an attorney, so she became an attorney in Washington, D.C., and decided after a few years it wasn't being an attorney she wanted. She had an understanding of what we ended up calling the true power of natural diversity, the diversity that God sees, that he created, and the benefits of it, and help, in her case, law firms or other corporations, upcoming generations of leaders see that, get the aha moment, get that new pair of glasses, understanding the true power of natural diversity, and take on a global cultural competence that was missing in the C-suite. We spent weeks together, months, defining and languaging the impact she saw in different age groups and types of people, and languaging it. And then she had an interview with a CEO of a law firm, global law firm, 11 countries. And she said, this is what I see. And it shared that real clarity picture. These people have these impacts. These people, I mean, leaders like you, law firms have these impacts. And she was told, wow, you're the one we want. And she, well, you're the one I want. And they got married. She called me from the cab. I got the job. Like, okay, I'm not surprised. But here's a woman that could have been, I mean, it's a black woman in the United States coming from educated, but African. And, when you're a black and a female, and people will perceive what they perceive. She is highly educated, but she understood deeply what marginalization means. And she could have been a walking chip on a shoulder, walking attitude of how people don't get me, and this is stupid and it's not fair and blah. But she created curriculum to help people think differently. I mean, it's like these are two very good examples of you could have gone another way, but they didn't, and what a blessing, right?
Yeah, when you say about this women, I just thought about the one quote that you don't need to compete with anyone. You create a new model which will make existing model obsolete. Yeah, so
Yes.
everyone is so unique. Everyone has given so many talents and gifts, and our gift to God is just to use these talents and gifts and create something unique, because everyone is so unique. Yeah, so there is no competition.
You know what I wrote down as I was reviewing your podcast and preparing? The language that's used to describe what you love to do here. I have to put on my big boy glasses for a moment. Hold on. Sorry, I look like Elton John, or because of the ring lights, I look like an outtake from Finding Nemo. But okay, your language is aligning mindset with your biggest goals. I'm here to tell you that aligning the perceptions, like my business, is shaping consistent perceptions in the minds of those whom you most want to impact. Your target audience is the people that you can impact. Aligning those perceptions, the language is everything a person, a brand says and does with their highest level impacts that they clearly see making is aligning your mindset with your biggest goals. And you and I do the same thing. We just look you're my sister from a different mother.
Yeah, I'm happy that we found each other finally.
And my people come from Moravia originally, from the Czech Republic. I'm sensing that maybe you're not too far away from that, and your timeline puts you somewhere over there.
I'm now in UK, and originally I'm from Ukraine.
I
Yes.
thought so.
Yes.
I work with someone a lot on websites and launching who has a business in Moldova, and so he works while I sleep, and then we meet on video. My heart hurts for what I've seen happen in Ukraine. I'll just say that. I was rereading history accounts by people who say, look, this is what really happened. And it's a heartbreak. But it's hopefully things will calm down in a positive way soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, so when we spoke about losing things, losing material houses or whatever, so did it come from the book? I mean, I didn't read the book and speak about
Yeah,
I had this in my life. That's
you
why
are the book.
I'm the book.
You are the book, right?
Yeah, and this happened 2 times already, because the war started in 2014, which when we moved first time,
Right. Yeah,
because
that's
we
when they
lived just
invaded
near the
Crimea.
Russian
Right.
border. Yeah, and this is second time. So, so everything I really lived, and now when I speak, it is not just theory. It is really what my experience, and how this knowledge which I learned from my mentor Bob Proctor helped me to turn all those problems or challenges into blessing, because I became the person who has value. Yes, because I understand, okay, now I lost everything. Like I lost 3 houses, everything we had. And I said, okay, like what this situation wants to teach me, what I can learn from this situation, what I can learn, that I don't want to depend on material things anymore. I want to become value myself, so I can build that house or whatever needed again, whatever happens. Yes, and also another lesson is to have strong faith and have close relations with God, because when you have faith, you don't feel that you are alone. You feel that support. You can speak to him. You can always ask for advice, for guidance. Yes, like having faith, it is very big part of my life. So there are many lessons, yes, many lessons how to turn negative situation into positive when you start thinking what is good, what I want. Yes, I want to be whom and how I can be that person. And this
Thank
is
you.
how.
Thank you for lifting up the power of faith. We're
Mhm.
all created by the same God, and that power is in us. We are
Mhm.
that power if we choose to use it. So you reminded me of something that we say often, even to young people when we speak to them. It goes back to kind of the what happens to you in life, but we all get to go through whatever we go through. Keep in mind that we're here for a reason, and it might not
Mhm.
be the reason we think. We are being prepared. So whatever we get to go through it. It's what you're going to need to step into your power. You could never be the Elena of today had you not gone through all that loss, and had you not learned to step into your power and be power for others. You wouldn't be Elena. So it, I've talked to people who said, young people who said, the guy popped me with the paddles and said, "Boy, you're really lucky. That fentanyl you took had you on the other side. I think we just brought you back from being dead." And they realize they get a second chance. Whatever happens, whatever you've been through, loss of money, businesses fail, relationships turn funny, the devastating power of sexual abuse, or a mischosen profession, choosing Wall Street and then realizing that that's not where you belong and your heart's not there and it's incongruent with who you really are. It's like whatever you go through is preparing you for what you get to do. So get on with it. I said to my two sons, get through it. Just get through it. It's like, get it out. Because, it's where your power will come from. So, wow.
Yeah, renew your mind, renew your thoughts, everything. Just become new person and move forward. Because
Mm.
everything, yeah, I totally agree. Everything what happened, it happened for us for some reason. And every situation, every challenge which comes, we should know that it is given to us because we have power to overcome this. And we overcome these challenges with renewed personality. We become different person. If I looked at myself 5 years ago, I would not recognize myself. I
Mm.
wouldn't recognize. I don't know how I lived with those beliefs, with those thoughts, like those habits. I don't understand. And I was successful for sometimes. I think how I was even successful financially. But yes, I was successful financially, but not knowing this laws, yes, not knowing mindset. All material things were just swiped away. They were coming and going, and I didn't know what is going on. And then after a situation happened that I lost everything, like everything, literally, then I started looking for personal development. I started looking for real answers. Why is this? Like I have two master degrees, I speak four languages, I have so much, like I thought I do so much, so why everything is just coming and going? And then
Mm.
I understand that something was missing in my mindset, something was missing that I didn't understood. And when I started collecting these pieces all together, then it became like one picture. It's like those like puzzle when pieces are separately, you can see something, but you don't really know like the big picture. But when you collect all these pieces and all they come together, then you see the picture. This is, like what success means. It is just like combination or like recipe of different ingredients and things doing in certain way. And what is the certain way? It is doing by the laws. Yes, so you have to study yourself, you have to study the laws, and it is not just about chasing things or working hard. It is really coming everything from understanding who you are, understanding what are the laws, understanding who God is, all these principles, all these laws which are given to us, and living according them, and setting big goals, again understanding the potential which you have as human being, which is the highest form of creation on this earth, and using those high mental faculties to understand that we are creators and we can create anything we can just think about, imagine, if we do it right way.
I love your wisdom. It's such a great example, your puzzle piece metaphor of sometimes we see the pieces, but we don't see the whole puzzle. And when they come together, it's different and we're different. You remind me that we are all mentors for others. We're all made to be mentored. Others help give us the puzzle pieces or give us clarity. Now we get to do that for others. We give them clarity about what you just talked about the energy, about the thinking, about the prioritizing, about the importance of thoughts versus things, of all of those things. We get to share those pieces with others so their puzzle pieces come together. Hey, what you just went through is preparing you. Hey, look at what you really want to impact. What do you see when you close your eyes? What does that look like? And now doing the process to enable you to get to those impacts faster. It's like helping mentor people. It just reminds me that we're all made to be mentored, and it feels so great when someone takes us under their wing and we listen and we choose to learn. We choose to, you said, to read, to study, we choose to listen with an open mind. But we're also made to be mentors, and we can do it at the exact same time. Even if you're young and you're just going through stuff, you're learning some of these puzzle pieces, you're made to be a mentor as well. So use the energy the other way and share what you know, what you do, your wisdom you already have with others, because that's one of the reasons we're here. We all get to be mentored and we all get to be a mentor. So just step into it. That's huge. Some people, I created a program for teenagers called Empowered Youth Day. And that was one of the big learnings. Who's at your mentor table? You get to put people at your mentor table whom you want. They could be alive, they could be dead. We could put Bob Proctor at our mentor table right now, but he's no longer with us on the planet, but he could be at our mentor table. George Washington could be there. Anybody could be there. Or our dad could be there, or not. We could take dad away. It's like, hey, teenager, you get to create your own mentor table. And they're like, what? It's like hitting them early to let them know that you have that power. And there is that waiting for you. Those from wisdom from the past, when you read and study and when you open your ears, and those who are in your life right now. I expect, because of your travels, when people say originally I'm from, that means they've kind of gotten from one place to another, right? We're all from somewhere. the United States is it's a conglomeration of people who are all from somewhere, and that's kind of who we are. That's why we have to do a census every 10 years. Like, who are we now? Yeah. And so we, we, in those travels, sometimes we meet people just for a moment, like on an airplane ride or on a bus,
Mm.
and they say something to us, and they come in and out of our lives for a moment, and there's a shift. Sometimes it's for a season, sometimes it's for a lifetime, and we get to be that person. They're there for us, but we get to be that person too. So, wow.
Yeah. And it always so, it's just so really inspiring when sometimes I receive messages from people who I don't know. I don't know, and they say that I help them to change their lives or save their lives or come out of depression. And now, wow, I think like it is so really like an elixir to my soul when these messages come and I said, oh, I don't even know you. I didn't know that I was helping you because I never even spoke with that person. But it is really, it is cannot be even compared with anything. Yeah, when you can really help people. And this is why I started this podcast, Mindset to Results, because I understood how much mindset is important in everything. And people are like in hypnotic state. You said about this disaster now, which is happening in California. People worked maybe 30, 40 years, and they worked hard to build those houses, and it is all just was
Dust.
taken.
It's
Yes, that's
ashes.
gone. And many people live their life pushing hard, doing something, and at the end of the life, they just look back and they just regret about think that they did things, but it was not their passion. They didn't do something that they really love to do because they were thinking that, oh, I will do this, I will do house, I will do that, and I will do my hobby, yes, something that I really like. So we are conditioned to think that we have to work and do other things which we maybe even don't like, but just to pay bills or just to create some material things and put really our passion for hobby somewhere in the future. Yes, and I think this is a big mistake because it means that the talents and gifts, that uniqueness, that all this like spiritual treasure, yes, and all these unique talents which God gave you, people don't use. They just think, okay, someday, and that day never comes, that day can never come. Yes, and this, I think, the biggest regret is when people live life of not their own life, but somebody who decided for them what to learn, what to do, how to work, where to work. Yes, and they don't have that, they're not brave enough to step into unknown and be themselves and really decide what they want to do, what they love to do, how they want to impact. And nothing can bring more fulfillment than that understanding and ability to help people really to change not only one generation but it's many generation, because I can see what Bob Proctor and his teaching did to me. For me, my relations changed with myself first, then my relations changed with my daughter. Now my daughter trajectory of her life is totally different because she lives with what she hears from her mother, having all these conversations every day. So it really can impact so many lives.
It absolutely. You made me think of another. You used the word generations. One of our clients is 83, and he's written 24 books, and they're
Wow.
all very different. They're about things that he believed we as as human beings, get to focus on, and that they're really important. He was an athlete. He pitched for the New York Yankees back in the 1960s. he's a colorful character. He's from Alabama, so he has a crazy accent. And his brand is being the voice of generational wisdom. Every one of his books has nuggets of wisdom. Think about this, and you go, oh, yeah. It's like the wisdom Abe Lincoln would have given it to his kids, you'll give it to your grandchildren, people will be using it. Yeah, it's like the book of Proverbs, only with an Alabama accent. And his name is Lou Vickery. I think he'd be a great guest on your podcast, and very colorful man. I'll put you in touch with him. But yeah, he has an entire library. We call it the Vickery Library. He's written 24 books, and he's not done. He knows he's not done. He knows he's here for reasons, and there's more. And that's one of the types of people that I absolutely not only adore and attract, but I want to attract, because people, there are millions of people, entrepreneurs or professionals or people who have been successful at something, and they've done it and they're really good at it. But that's not really why they're here. It was their business or their work or their natural talent. But there's so much more. There's an umbrella brand. There's a higher level impact that they get to make when they shift their mindset of, what do I see if I could make the highest level impacts on people? What do I see? And evolving who they say they are to speed making those highest level impacts. That's what I do every day. That's the impact driven branding. So those people who, they wrote a book in 1994, but they have more to give, but they're not really sure how to say it, how to do it. They're at the locked gate to the next level of who they want to become or the impacts they want to make, and they don't want to screw it up. But branding, they don't really think about that as. But branding is just a process, and frankly, it's shaping perception in the minds of those that you really want to impact. And when you think about it that way, it's coming from inside them, not from outside them. So it's not fakey branding. It's not, hey, Elena, you get to put on this superhero costume. Good luck. I hope you like it. You're like, wow, it doesn't really fit. It's not really me. Not that. Okay. It's like, hey, I closed my eyes and my heart said, I can really impact these people. Well, in what ways? We write that down. You can define the brand you must become to make those impacts. And guess what happens? Everything aligns with the impacts, and you get there faster. It's what you do in your work, and it's my version of kind of what you do in your. We are so made for each other, Elena. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness. And I have to ask you, do you know Mo Rock? Okay, I'm going to introduce. Mo Rock is the publisher of the LA Tribune. It is one of the only media outlets that has uplifted self-development. He got Bob Proctor and a whole bunch of people together years ago to do media outlet who does it, and his vision is to open uplifting good news media outlets all over the United States. The man is
let's do it.
I want you to know him, and I want him to know you. Oh my gosh. Oh, seriously. That's a connection. Let's do that. Mo is a wonderful, wonderful man, and connected to the creator. It's very beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that the world now in such a place that we have to really share this knowledge and help people to awake. Yes, just to raise their awareness and become conscious about what is going on, because everything starts, all changes starts from within, right? If every people start thinking instead of just having mental activity, like another book which I love is the book of Napoleon Hill. He wrote such a powerful book which is called Outwitting the Devil. Not many people heard about this book, but this is such a powerful book, and it was hidden for 70 years. His relative didn't publish it, and sometimes I even wonder how this book even got published. So if you can still get it, you get it and read it, because it is so powerful. And
Good point.
says, yes, so it says that 2% of people think, 3% of people think that they think, And 95% would rather die than think. You just you just think about that.
There's a wake up call. Yeah. It's way more that statistic is way more powerful than those who don't study history are destined to repeat it, you know. Or, hey, Solomon got all the wise people he knew got together and they wrote down all the things they'd learned, and they were all old and they had a lot of wisdom and they wrote them all in one place. Have you read that? Have you read the book of Proverbs? And people go like, no, not really. And you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Okay, so at times like these, and I'm thinking about the fires and the devastation in LA, but let's take another example, 9/11 in this country, the devastation inside between our ears that happened when the Twin Towers went down and they shut off all the air flights and air and you know, it's like people woke up to how important family, how important faith is, how important love is, how important their relationship with God is. It's like it was a wake up call. So I'm asking anyone who's listening to this, have you had a wake up call? What's your wake up? Did you miss it and you thought it wasn't, and maybe, you know, maybe you'd figure it out later? Because we all get them, and sometimes we don't even have to use our own. We can use somebody else's wake up call and go, wow, there's a wake up call. So you can learn vicariously through others' tragedies and be part of the 2% who are thinking. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, this is so powerful. Yes, you don't need to wait for your waking up call. Yes, you can become thoughtful. You can start thinking about your life, about who you are. Really, you know yourself. Yes, how you live? Do you really live how you meant to live? What you can change?
Elena, I've been doing this for 48 years. You know, people joke, hey, you should be on a beach or a yacht. I'm on Zoom, okay? Seriously, that's kind of a joke, but it's real, and I'm on Zoom. I talk to so many people, and they say things like, they're talking about themselves or their business or their work, and they say, you know, we just need better ways to say what we do. I need more clarity about where this can go. People, sometimes, and all of us as individuals, sometimes others see in us more than we see in ourselves. And so when we have the gift to listen to someone's heart like you do, and I don't mean to be self-aggrandizing, but like I do too, I think we share that. When we listen to what's inside people and we share with them possibilities that we see for them in a different framework, it's really powerful. So I literally, as crazy as it is, and I don't know if you do this or not, I literally have on my website, right on the homepage, a button that says talk to Rich for 30 minutes. Is when people get a chance to tell who they are and what's going on and what their struggle is and how they need more clarity. You know, things can happen in a minute, in a very short period of time. And I still do that. So you were saying like, people that called you and said, you changed my life. I have people hopping on my Calendly link. I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And I just show, and here I am when we talk, and it's a God blessing. And I'll do it as long as I have the time to do it. Yeah, so remarkable.
Yes, gratitude and love. Yes, so when we come outside of only thinking about ourselves, about family, like I was listening to Grant Cardone recently, and he said that there are 8 billion people in the world. And if you just think how to help yourself, how you to help your family, you are egoistic, you're selfish. Yeah, because there are so many people who you can help. So it is really good to come out of those just limit circle of people who you think and see the bigger picture. Yes, that there are so many people who really need to this knowledge. And that's why when I learned this from Bob Proctor, I said I cannot just keep it under the table. I have to share this with the world because it can save so many people's lives and give them meaning to so many people.
You mentioned, and I know you do this in your podcast, where you mention the book by Napoleon Hill. I'm going to mention a book in case you haven't. You may have. It might be one of your favorite books, but it's a mind exploder. It's called Abundance, and it was written by Peter Diamandis. He has a number of best-selling books. It's basically it was written almost 10 years ago, I think 2014, and it's saying, look, all of these geometrically growing, like they're growing, geometrically, not just linearly, technologies are capable being put together of solving problems that most human beings think are just not solvable. Clean drinking water, the elimination of devastating, medical issues, teaching kids who are in faraway places and don't have access, to the resources that we do. It's like that book points out that the problems that most people would say, like, we just can't fix it, and the world is a mess, and it's a mess, and yeah. And he goes, wait. These people, and he mentions people who are driving change, and he goes, humans only think linearly. We can only envision we only see what we can see. I'm trained in neurolinguistics programming. The phrase is perception is reality. You can only see, or perception is projection. Excuse me. Perception, what you perceive, is projection. You can only see what you know. It's kind of thing until something changes, and then you can see more. It's like people can only see linearly, but the world, these problems can be solved with these things that are geometrically growing. It's so amazing what is possible. Reading that book is like a breath of intense hope and fresh air, and I'm like, don't think like that, like think like that. It's like think big, think abundantly, think like, what can we think like? No, anything is solvable. It's like, it's that corner that you turned because of Bob's mentoring and how you think. And so what a great book. If you don't have it, get it. Abundance by Peter Diamandis. He also wrote Longevity, which is, he is surrounded by all these technologies and medical management of aging and all that kind of stuff. And he goes, look, science says in 10 years, and that was 10 years ago, right? He said, science says in 10 years, we'll know enough to prolong your life for 1 year for every year you live. And you read that and you go, wait a minute. Right? He said they call it longevity escape velocity. And his point is, I have all these resources and all these smart people and all these technologies here's what I'm doing to make sure I'm around in 10 years so that I can hit this longevity escape velocity. It's a very short book because he's saying, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I eat. Here's what I exercise, all these things, because he has all this science at his disposal. That's a great book. Longevity by Peter Diamandis. Anyway, those two are mind changing. They're like, and they're wake up calls. You can do this. You don't just sit around and go like, well, yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So you're in the UK, right? Is that what you said? You're in the UK?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so if we think we can, we are right. If we think we cannot, we're also right. So it's all what we choose.
There you go. Right. What's in your mind is in your, Harv Eker used to say, what's in your mind is in your life. It's like,
okay. So it is you choose what you want to
you
be,
choose.
what will be your life.
Exactly. Oh, Elena, this is delightful. I am so glad we got a chance to talk. Finally, I don't know why we haven't connected before this, but this is delightful. I hope everyone relishes this episode. Oh, there's some great juice here. Wow.
Yeah, we discussed a lot, so I think everyone should just listen to this episode 2 times and to digest because we covered a lot. Yeah, so thank you so much, Rich. It was really a pleasure to speak to you, to meet you, and I'm looking forward to see you again for our future episodes. I'm sure that we can create so many really empowering episodes together.
I have that feeling. I'm glad this is the first day of the rest of our life. Let's do it.
Yeah.